So, about 2 years ago, I released my first devlog on Scope Creep, and it was pretty good, especially for my first video. But I never really mentioned Scope Creep again, and trust me, it has come up many times. So, just a quick background on Scope Creep. Scope Creep is when you keep on adding more and more and more and more stuff to a game, even if it doesn't need it. Now, I originally said in my older video that I had deleted a ton of stuff from my game because I realized I didn't really want it, and that the game didn't really need it. And yeah, that's true, but I still haven't mentioned all the behind-the-scenes scope creeps, such as stories and side quests, and wait, how do you beat the game? And also, how long will it take to make it? So in today's video, I want to go through everything I have to do to finish the game, and the simple process I use to limit my game scope creep, so that it can hopefully be released sometime in late 2026, maybe. So, let's start at the beginning. I had so many ideas floating around for my game, and I wanted to put them all in. The issue is I also want to, finish the game. At this point, I had also started running out of video ideas. If you notice, I have 3 videos on level design. This is my third-ish video on scope creep. 2 of my videos have been on the process for making stuff for my game. I have a video on the level design of another game. I have a handful of live streams, and I didn't just want to make another video saying similar stuff to other videos, just with a different character or a different building. One of my ideas was to make videos that just explain what I've been working on for my game and how they all work, or something similar. The issue is that I work on completely random things at a time, so my videos would just bounce from here to there. So, with all these ideas for my game and for videos, I decided I need to purge some ideas, and in that process, I came up with the idea for this video. What I decided to keep after the purge, and in doing that, I want to explain how I plan to keep my ideas in check, so that my game can be finished sooner, and so that I don't add a ton of bloat to my game. First, remember that this is a game I started making because I wanted to learn Godot. So, instead of prototyping or making a cohesive plan, I just winged it, meaning that I had no idea what my game was going to be about, let alone if it would have been good or not. So, my goal when organizing my ideas was to just make a simple list of everything I needed to do to finish the game. And that list, like it or not, will not be changed. This time I'm stopping myself from falling into scope creep. If I can't add stuff to the list, I can't fall into scope creep where I keep saying I need more things. So I spent one day throwing away all of my garbage ideas for the game, and what I was left with was the list of things to do. The list is the main quest, plot, 7 buildings, a few characters, basic sound effects and music, basic UI and polish. That's it. While some of those things are vague, like 7 buildings, I didn't want to list every building I wanted to make. I do have a list for that too, though. Just the fact that I need 7 more buildings. That's it. 7 more, and I'm not allowed to add any more buildings. The first thing I decided to go through was the list of ideas for what I wanted the player to have to do to see the credits, as that's the most important thing to figure out. Some of these ideas included, there is no end, you just keep doing stuff till you've run out of stuff to do a ton of side quests, talk with every character, fix the train so you can escape, some story-related thing, and a whole lot more. I ended up deciding on tweaking the idea to fix the train idea, but instead of escaping, you need to fix the train so you can get home after a business meeting. That's it. That's the whole plot and plan for the game. Boom. Now, what does the player have to do to get to this goal? They have to find and hire 3 construction workers to fix the train. That's it. And I keep on going through and saying, what does the player have to do to hire them? What do they have to do to get to that step? And so on and so forth, until you've finally read through the list of everything you need, and you get an entire vision of what the game is. Now, again, I want to stress that if you are thinking of making a game, do not do this. Prototype, find cool mechanics, and make a real plan. This is just how I saved myself from having to take the next 20 years to make every single thing I ever thought of for this game. Next, I decided to go through some of the less important, but still pretty necessary things. Things like the buildings I mentioned before. I don't have a set I need to make buildings X, Y, and Z. I just know that I need to make 7 different buildings. Similarly, the songs and the sound effects are also listed like this. I need 8 or 9 songs. 1 for each building, then a main theme. I also need 2 or 3 sound effects for the player's movement, and maybe a little click for menuing. The same thing happens with characters. I need 1 or 2 characters per building, so that means 7 to 14 characters max. These list points are then turned into a list on their own, where I brainstorm ideas for buildings or for characters. I still can't use all these ideas, it's just so that when I want to work on my buildings, I can say, hey, I want to add this building right now, until I have all 7 buildings, and then the extras just don't get made. This system allows me a good bit of flexibility with what I want to add and where, but it also stops me from adding tons of stuff to my game because of the constraints I've placed on myself. Then there are the really low-level tasks that I just had to deal with because they're either necessary or they're just easy enough for me to check off the list. Most of these are really boring, but the main one that I'll just eventually have to deal with, and it was easy enough for me to decide at least how I wanted to tackle it, if not actually do it, was the storefront. I've started working on a super basic store page for on itch.io. I'm still debating whether or not I want a Steam page as it costs money to make a Steam store page, and I'm not sure if my game has enough of an audience right now to warrant spending that money. Not to turn this into a plug for my YouTube channel, but if you want to see the game released on Steam, you should subscribe, and if I see enough interest before it releases, I might consider making a Steam page. If you want to support me differently, you could head over to itch.io and just play my other games, maybe donate if you really want, and you could also join the Discord. Anyways, back to the main topic. Other than that storefront decision, there really weren't a ton of things that were super important to mention. They're mostly all just stuff that I have to do at some point. Things like how I want to do the UI, and how I want to do the saving and the quitting, and other base things that just need to be done before the game releases. So, now that I have all my ideas for the game set up, I have to start implementing them. My plan for doing this is as follows. The first thing I have to finish doing is finish making the outline for what the player needs to do to finish the game. I'm pretty close to being done with this already, but it still needs some polishing. The next thing I'm going to work on, and probably will be the topic of one of my next videos, will be finishing all the art for the buildings and putting them into the game, even if there are no characters for any of them yet. This step feels like it'll bring my game a whole lot closer to being done, and it's also pretty doable. My next step will be to make all the characters for the game. This step is much harder as characters tend to need animating, but there aren't too many left that I have to make, and after that, implementing them will be the next step. Then I'm going to start working on implementing the outline from the first step to finish the game, and once I do that, all I have to do is set up the basic UI, polish, and then hopefully release by the end of 2026. So, that's all for today's video. I hope it helped you see how much I have left to do in the game, and I really think that if I buckle down and work on it, I can definitely finish it by the end of 2026 or the start of 2027. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, like and subscribe, and if you have any things you want to see me cover in my next video, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.